All right, ladies and gentlemen, now joining us on the 182 News podcast again. It's been a while, the one and only Davey Jones. Davey, what's happening?
Poppin', how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. So I saw last week you went to a Blink 182 show and it was a big surprise. I didn't know if that was going to happen this tour, but I was so stoked to hear you did. And I've been trying to find time to call you this week to chit chat, get caught up. You know, we haven't chatted in great detail in some time, but it's happened. I'm thinking, let's just do it live on the podcast and let's get all these stories right here.
I love it. Thanks for hitting me up. I'm still coming down. Did you have that feeling in Chicago? Like, you know, a couple days later, you're kind of still coming down from the high of the whole experience?
Yep, I had back-to-back nights too. So I had
wow.
a double dosage of Blink, which was rad. But
wow.
Yeah, you've been on the YouTube page several times, but I was thinking, I don't think we've done a podcast since our saga 2 or 3 years ago.
I don't think so. No.
I mean, the part one, and for those of you who don't know, I guess I should, go back a little bit, but Davey's longtime Blink fan, really 95 through 98, has provided a ton of incredible insight. I consider you probably the biggest Blink 182 historian. I've said many times, we are blessed that you are still around and willing to share all of the Blink knowledge you possess. And you were one that, you saved your flyers and ticket stubs and have rad pictures. So the Blink community as a whole, I feel truly that we owe a lot to you. Now, if you have not listened to those podcast episodes with Davey, go back. It's a 3-parter. We talk about how he got into Blink, all the shows. And I think we really led up to, I want to say, your last show seeing Blink with Skiba at Muse Inc. Does that sound right?
No, well, we talked about that. And I think we left off with, I saw them on one date on the California tour.
Okay.
That was close to me. So that was, I think, fall 2016.
Okay.
So that's kind of the last we've talked about, anything.
Yeah, on the pod. You were wearing like an old school Blink shirt at that, right?
I did. I busted out an old school one at that arena, and I didn't get a glance. No one even knew what it was, had any idea. But anyways, yeah, we talked about that California date on the podcast. And yeah, I guess I'm kind of a Blink historian or whatever, thanks for saying so. I kind of think of like Blink history as like my hobby, because I don't really have any other hobbies. Like, some dudes like have a boat or like go fishing or whatever. And like Blink history is just my hobby. So it's not like it's my life or anything, right? I have a whole other life and, IRL people and family and all that, career and everything. Blink history is just kind of my nerdy hobby, like some dude with Legos. It's just my hobby.
I gotcha. Yeah. So fun fact, that first episode we did, which really hits through the early years, 95 through 98-ish, but that was the #1 most downloaded pod forever, really until a few months ago when, do you know who broke the record?
Was it DeVoe?
It was Rick DeVoe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he deserves it, right? Like it should be someone who's actually part of the story that gets the most downloads, right?
Yeah. So you held the title though for a long time, like a 3-year champion of 182 News. Not me, not the host, just Davey and his old stories. But yeah, we've done some videos on YouTube with the sticker strat and some of that stuff, but you have not been on just the pod in some time. So stoked to have you on.
Yeah, we haven't like just talked, like fanishly talked about the band in a long time, I feel like.
Yeah, and a lot has happened since our last podcast.
My God, yeah.
Conversations for sure.
Yeah, just a few things.
Let's start there because you and I really haven't gotten into it, but do you recall how you felt when Tom was announced back in the band? This was in October. I mean, we haven't even really discussed that, you and I.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, there were a lot of rumblings and a lot of whispers and a lot of rumors and a lot of chats and DMs about people speculating and things like that. And so, I feel like that buzz kind of started. Well, when did Mr. T-shirt start dropping? Wasn't there some 30th merch that happened kind of in the spring? There was a little momentum there.
Yes.
Like I think that he did an old school bunny one that said 30th on it, and he started doing the little stickers each month.
He did, and I'll tell you what really, in hindsight, it was actually kind of a big clue.
Yeah.
They started coming out with those Funkos with Tom. the 3-packs with Tom.
Right,
And that was a pretty
right,
big deal. And
right.
the crazy part, I mean, I knew Tom was back in Blink and I couldn't say anything for a long time.
Sure, sure.
And it's funny because people were speculating, and I was like, you know, they're on the right path here. This is kind of weird to have Tom action figures coming out because they never did. I mean, when the Skiba era was here, there really was no nods to Tom at all.
Right, right. And I think the Skiba era was really handled respectfully by everyone, and like there was no like TMZ drama about people talking or anything. It was just, this is what the band is now, and if the band is something different later, then it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think the buzz around could it, would it, was starting, at least for me, with the 30th merch, right? And then that started building towards, I mean, because as the story goes, Mark and Tom first hung out in August of '92, I believe it was. So I think traditionally, Mark at least has always celebrated the band's birthday on August 1st. That's kind of been, who knows what the day was that they actually hung out and he climbed the lamp pole or whatever. So August 1st has been traditionally, it's almost like a Star Wars day, right? That's like the Blink birthday day. Um, and people, I'm sure, on Reddit and other websites and Discord, whatever, were like, hey, what's happening? What's happening? Hey, what's happening? What's happening? And Mark was just kind of like radio silence, and he'd be like, look, just listen to official channels. If there's
Yep.
any announcement, it's going to happen on our website and on our socials, right? And I remember there was a lot of speculation around, like, when they kind of cleared their socials, they like kind of
Yes.
cleared house of all. And I don't think it was like anything conspiratorial. I think it was just they wanted to clear the record of postings of like the Skiba era, right? And kind of like start fresh. And the band has done that before. They did that when the Skiba era started. They did a cleaning out of socials. So like, I think that's pretty typical. There's nothing like weird about that. There's no
Yeah.
like JFK theory or anything. That's just what happened.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
so when the socials cleared, and then when Mark was like, wait for an official notice, I don't know if you, I mean, you had your own thing, but I was like, maybe something is going to happen here.
Prior to that, and I feel like we hit on it maybe in one of our previous conversations, but prior to that, in the bottom of your heart, did you really think Tom would come back one day or they would play again together?
That's an interesting question. I love Tom. We all love Tom. He's a little flighty. He's a little impulsive. I think he's very much a run after the next shiny object, like laser pointer with a cat kind of guy. So I think if someone like, I don't know, dangled some money or some opportunities in front of him, he might be like, hey, this sounds really cool. I really think it was about, there was that emotional moment where Travis was in that plane crash and like was within inches of his life, right? And then, that got him back on something. And then I think Mark's cancer battle and that whole period coming on top of the pandemic already,
Yeah.
and them like really talking and getting close again. I really think, I don't want to speak for Tom, but it sounds to me like it was a really emotional decision. And it was like, hey, what does Mark say? Like, life is too short to last long. Like, it could all be over again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do we want to go out there and play and do what we do? And I think that's why he made the call. I think it was a very emotional thing.
It's crazy, like, what all had to line up for us to get to where we are. It's a beautiful thing, and we'll get into it when you're at a show and just how many folks are there and smiling and having the time of their lives. But I truly don't think that happens without, Mark going through his cancer battle or maybe the crazy pandemic. I mean, it's just fucking crazy how everything lined up. But yeah, it's wild. So with Tom's return, I think with the pandemic, with no music, with Mark taking time off, obviously to get better during that time, Blink was really at a standstill. So, coming out with Tom back in the band and then new music, it seemed really natural at that time. The first song we get is Edging. This is another thing you and I still haven't had a chance to really sync up on,
No,
but
not
I'm
at all.
curious. Because I was just really curious to hear what they would sound like. Do they pick up where Dogs Eating Dogs left off? Is it Life Forms combined with Nine, and we've got this just beautiful, mashup of where they all are artistically at this point. But I'm curious, when Edging dropped, what were your initial thoughts? What are your thoughts on it now as a whole?
Well, I was curious, so I went to Amazon and I bought it. I gave my $1.99 or whatever. I don't remember the timeline exactly, Poppin, but it feels like they're reunited. Tom's back together. There's a single coming. We're doing a world tour. All of that feels like it happened in 48 hours. I mean, I know it didn't. Like that was paced out over weeks. But in my emotional memory, it feels like that all happened at once. So it was this compressed moment. So like listening to Edging is like really thinking about them. Oh my God, they're going out on a tour. There's going to be an album. Like it's a whole new thing, a whole new era. I didn't want to, I don't know how you are about new songs. I don't want whatever they did with the music video to cloud my thinking about the song. Like I wanted to hear it first as audio, and then I'll go to YouTube and I'll check out the video or whatever. So I downloaded from Amazon, whatever, $1.99, put the MP3 into my stuff, and I gave it a spin. And my first impression was like, okay, like I think in terms of band strategy, they made the perfect call. They delivered a really short, concise pop single that would dominate streaming, that would blow up on satellite radio. Boom. Like the production was dialed in exactly to how you'd hear it in a car, on satellite radio, Sirius or whatever that stuff is. It was perfectly crafted to dominate streaming, which is what happened, right? Like it blew up in terms of a streaming single, right? So we're in the post CD age and it's all about streaming. It totally blew up and it dominated. And I think the reason it did is you don't see a lot of pop oriented guitar based rock and roll in top 40 anymore, right?
Yeah.
Pop is really dominated by EDM music, by hip hop, by R&B. It's a computer crafted landscape. You don't see, there's guitar based rock that's still very popular, right? But not that dominates the singles charts. Like Pearl Jam or Radiohead don't drop a guitar song that just soars up the charts. So they kind of have that niche that they were able to ride, and that like, hey, it's a drummer and a bassist and a guitar player, and this is a 2.5 minute pop song, and yet it slotted right in with the top 40 streaming and just soared.
Yeah.
So I think they made a great choice on the song that they dropped. Like we weren't expecting A Heart's All Gone. You're not going to give us a generational divide. Like the fans will get that a little later. I know those kinds of tracks will probably be on the album.
Yeah.
But they were like, we need the pop nugget to get the word out that we're back.
Yeah.
And I think they just did it perfectly. Also, it was a track completely devoid of Angels and Airwaves influence at all. Yeah. And I think that was really important, right? So I joked with you on the pod that Neighborhoods is like my favorite Angels and Airwaves album. But that's really about how Tom and Mark influencing each other with their other stuff that they've done. Because there's like plus 44 moments in Neighborhoods too, right?
Oh yeah.
It's totally, you can feel both of those vibes. But this was very much like, almost like they rolled it back to Jacket. And they're like, we're just going to do 3-chord guitar with a catchy chorus and a rockin' little bridge moment. There's no synths. There's no effects. There's no weird Tom reverby moments. And I think that, I don't know if that was a band discussion, but I think it was very smart to set it apart from, Lifeforms had only dropped what, like
21 or the year, a couple years ago.
21, right? So like that, that's already still on everyone's mind about Blink and everything. And also it didn't sound like Skiba era either, right? Like
not at all.
Some of my favorite moments about the California 9 era are the melancholy moments, and that's really Mark with his plus 44 vibes and Skiba with his trio vibes, right?
Yeah.
Like I love those little moments. None of that darkness and edging. None of it. It's all shoved aside. This is like the slammin' single of the summer, like pop vibe. And so I think it was ideal. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it didn't sound like any other Blink song to me, any other era. I just thought it was super, super fresh. I didn't feel anything recycled about it. I thought it was incredibly catchy. And I'll tell you what really proved it to me is when I saw those shows in Chicago, dude, the crowds were going fucking nuts to that song live. I thought it translated well live. I was very curious to hear that and see that. And dude, people were singing along with that like a motherfucker. So yeah, I think it was a huge W for the first single. And obviously they've been writing it for some time. But I will say this, I mentioned this, I think on the last pod, I saw a tweet that said Blink-182 just proved you can do a world tour off one single. But I was thinking in my head, actually, I don't even think they needed the single for this, for this tour to be what it is. It's great. Don't get me wrong, but man, this is a big deal. This tour was just with Tom's return in general.
Yeah. Yeah, edging's kind of the icing on the cake, right? I bet, given the generations of fandom that Blink has built up since the 90s, they would have sold out a national arena tour without a single.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
But
feel that way for
edging
sure.
edging just like put it over the top where they could dominate streaming and be like so back in the limelight. And Poppin, without doing a lick of press, they haven't done a
Yes.
single interview in a major outlet. They're not talking to Rolling Stone or Kerrang. There's no Brooklyn Vegan articles. There's nothing.
I know.
But Travis, like, you know, tweeting or going on Instagram about little photos of them in the studio, like little social media moments, and that's it. So
Yeah.
with no press, they were able to completely sell out a global arena tour. I mean, give me a break, right?
It's unreal. Yeah. I mentioned that on the last pod. I said, because somebody asked if Mark's ever going to come on my pod. And I said, well, maybe when the time's right. But look at it. They're not doing any press right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not doing sound
Yeah.
checks. They're not doing meet and
No.
greets. No
Nope.
press. I mean,
Nope.
they're flying in and out, crushing
Yep.
these sold out shows and bouncing to the next city. It's crazy.
And I kind of love that they're proving that you can do it without press. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, who needs that? Why sit in a hotel lobby and talk to someone for 30 minutes? Like, no, don't
Yeah.
need to do it.
And at this point in their careers, man, like, dude, they fucking have earned the right to do whatever the fuck
Yep.
they want on their
Yep.
terms. And if that's what has to happen for this tour to take place and everybody to be happy and stay together, then whatever, deal with it. Yeah. So Tom's back. We get edging, you know, the world tour. It kicks off. Like I said, I went to a couple shows, and then I didn't know if you were going to go to a show or not. And then just a couple days ago, you had mentioned to me, hey, going to Seattle. Talk to us about why the change, how you decided you were going to go, or how all this lined up, man.
Yeah, when they did the tour announcement and I saw the list of cities, I'm like 6 hours and change from the Seattle metro area, so that would have been my closest date. But Poppin, you know, I'm not. We talked about this on the pod before with my, you know, old school memories. I'm not an arena stadium guy. I've been to one arena show in my life, one, and that was REM on the Monster Tour at the Arrowhead Pond, which would have been the same summer that I saw Blink for the first time. So that's a really interesting parallel that the last time I was in an arena show was like a matter of weeks before I saw Blink for the first time.
Yeah.
Right? That was, REM. And I was way up in the cheap seats with my friends. And, you know, you have to remember there was no internet. So the only way to get tickets was to like go to a Ticketmaster outlet, which they had them at all the major music stores. I think this was either a Blockbuster Video or like a Sam Goody or something like that. And you showed up at 6 a.m. and you were given a wristband with a number on it. So you didn't have to stand in line. You could like go get coffee and donuts and come back. You had a numbered wristband. And that was your number to walk in and be able to buy tickets. And all the scalpers would get there at like 3 or 4 a.m. to be there early to get all the best seats. So, you know, even though we were there early in the morning and we waited for hours with a wristband, we got nosebleed tickets, and that was the only thing you could do. That was it. That was it. The only way to get secondhand tickets was to go to in Orange County. We had a weekly like free newspaper called the Recycler. That's like where you'd like buy used cars, and there was a part in the back where tickets were listed, and that was the only way to find them. Remember, no internet, dude, no Craigslist, no nothing.
Yeah.
You literally got the Recycler, and you went back to the ticket section, and you hoped that you could buy one from a scalper or whatever. So that was my first and only arena experience. And I know, and I got this vibe, you know, going to the Seattle show, like there's people who their entire live music experience is arenas and stadiums. That's how they consume music. They've never been to a club. They've never been in a mosh pit, right?
Right.
And that was my formative experience in the 90s. That's how I consumed all live music, was in a club environment. Maybe a hall if it was a bigger band like Bad Religion, right? But I did not do stadiums and arenas. So I don't understand the whole like sitting on the lawn and the band is like a speck way far away.
Yeah.
And you're watching them on the big screens. Some people, that's how they consume live music, and that's the experience for them. It's not for me, right? I'm not dissing it. I'm not dissing it at all. Just not for me. It wasn't my thing. So I saw the tour listing, saw the dates, and I was like, I'm out. I don't think I'm going to go. And I felt that way all the way through the fall announcement into when did tickets go on sale? I feel like that was an early spring moment.
Yeah. And then it kicked off in what, May? I don't know.
When was the big on sale moment? It was well before it was before they were going to go to South America, right? And it was before obviously Coachella.
Did the tickets go on sale in October?
Was it the fall?
It may have been, because I know they announced Tom, they had the new song, and I know they announced the world tour, but I don't know if the tickets went on sale. I don't know, but it's been some time for sure.
So there was the whole thing about like, South America getting canceled because I guess hadn't Travis injured his finger or something like that?
Yes. Yep. He had to have surgery.
And I got to say, like, I was worried. Were you worried? Because those injuries can go sideways where like you're out for 9 months to a year, or you can recover really quickly. Like, how'd you feel about that?
Dude, I was really nervous. I have had surgery on my finger, and I was telling people, yeah, you got a 5-6 week until you're healed. But dude, I'm telling you, it's hard to even like wipe your ass with a fucking cast on fresh out of surgery, much less rip a drum show for that long, you know, the way Travis does. So I was very worried about it because that 5 or 6 week healing window that they were given was like right up against their first US date. So I was pretty worried, to be honest.
And I'm a drummer myself. Your feet and your hands, your feet and your hands are precious. And if they get screwed up, that you're out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, when they did that announcement that like he's got to recover, he's got to do the surgery, they can't do South America, I was like, wow, does this push the whole tour out? Like I was honestly worried that they weren't going to make that, what it was at May, like a May start date.
Yeah, like the 4th, May 4th, I think it was.
But then the Coachella announcement, I mean, how did you feel about that? That was amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, I figured they were going to do a warm up of some sense. I didn't think it was going to be to, all of California and every kid who flew in. But I was joking with Mark. I'm like, that's a pretty big warm up show, buddy.
Yeah, like no pressure, right? Like it's probably the most famous outdoor music festival of those kinds of genres on the West Coast. And they're like, oh, we're just going to be back now with Tom after however many years.
Yep.
Like they didn't do the little like secret show at Soma and the Roxy just to test it out or anything. They're like, no, we're just going to do this.
There you go.
Did you watch the live streams that they did?
Oh yeah. I did a pod reaction to night one and the headliner that Sunday or whenever it was.
I busted out the laptop and the HDMI and plugged it into my big ass plasma TV and just watched it like it was a live concert.
Yeah, it was sick.
I was like, I'm like on the couch in my house and it's just like Blink is on this freaking 48, monitor or whatever. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
I thought they pulled off Coachella really well. And the fact that what's his face like dropped out or whatever, that Ocean kid, what happened with the second?
Oh, yeah, I don't know why he dropped off, as the headliner, Frank Ocean, I think it was, but I don't know why they dropped off. But yeah, Blink, I think got asked on pretty short notice to play that Sunday and crushed it. Headliner. So yeah, I mean, second show back, you're headlining Coachella with Tom. Have fun.
And killed it. I mean, Mark and Tom had a couple clams in there, but they're on a click. They're well rehearsed. It was tight as heck. I loved the visual displays and everything that they had going on. They had like animations for all the songs. So that they had this built for South America, right? They had all the gear. They had all the video synced to the click. They had the pyros and everything was all set for South America. So all they did was go, hey, we're going to build this on the Coachella stage. Let's make it happen. And I mean, hats off to like that crew, like throwing that together with such short notice. And then they're like, oh, you're going again in a few nights. And then they put it up all again and they freaking killed it.
Yep. That was rad. Super rad.
I got to say the Coachella for me, because I mean, that I'm a gear nerd, was just all about seeing those basses come out, dude. Like just, like seeing Relic out, seeing Scully being played live for the first time since Plus 44 was the last time.
Dude, it had been
that bass was out.
Long time. I mean, the debut of Tom's new Starcasters.
Yes. And Jin. I mean, to see Jin, which I mean, he's recorded probably most of the new album with that bass. To see that played live, there were so many little debut moments in Coachella. It was like Christmas. I felt it was like Blink Christmas. I mean, how did you feel?
Dude, I felt the same way, and I was fucking stoked that it was pro shot and will live on forever.
Oh, and live edited and just feeling beautiful.
And I saw, I mean, not that I'm sure a ton of hardcore Blink fans went there. We saw some of those Blink 182 Mexico and A
Oh
lot of
yeah, yeah.
folks.
Some people we knew were there. Yeah.
But what I loved was even 100,000 people, you know, who were there probably hoping to see Frank Ocean or whoever was headlining or supposed to be there. They had a memorable night, and I saw nothing but unanimous praise. And it was like, man, I've been preaching for years, even during downtime or maybe Skiba era when not the whole world is up on Blink or whatever, dude. Like, I was just so stoked to finally see like everybody is so fucking stoked about Blink
Yeah.
182
Yeah.
being back and playing shows. So I thought it was awesome, dude.
Well, it's funny, like, you know, on Instagram, right? There's like an algorithm and it'll just feed you stuff based on what you post and what you look at, right?
Yeah,
And so
mine's Ninja
yeah.
Turtle toys.
Yeah. So right. So my Instagram, I only have a little channel that I use just for Blink memories and stuff. So it feeds me Blink content like all the time. And when Coachella happened, my feed was like just overwhelmed. I mean, I get little cat videos and cooking videos. We all do, whatever. But it was just overwhelmed with Blink content like all of a sudden. Like the algorithm's like, hey, it's Blink Christmas. Here you go, Davey. Have a bunch of Blink stuff. And I saw people posting like little short reels and vid clips that were like, hey, you know, I kind of knew Blink 182. I came for Frank Ocean, but man, they killed it. Like I just saw stuff over and over like that. Like, wow, headlining Coachella, they slammed it. Awesome. You know, my girlfriend remembers I miss you. Like just all these little moments. It was really cool.
Yeah, and it gets into like, you know, if I talk to a coworker or a random person, I'm like, I'm a Blink 182 fan. We've talked about this, I believe. It's almost like they look at you like, oh man, you were stuck in 1999. You must really like all the small things or something like that. And there's a level of fanness and community. And this is why I love chatting with you and some of the other hardcore Blink nerds that I've been lucky enough to chat with or have on the pod or just be friends with online. But it's like, man, this band means a lot more to so many people than just 1999 and Dickie shorts and all that shit. So it's rad when the rest of the world kind of has their eyes open and are excited about it. Like I have friends who aren't even, you know, Blink fans per se, who were there and they were texting me like, dude, Blink fucking crushed it. I'm like, man, I've been trying to fucking tell y'all. I got a podcast about it. They're awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, Coachella was rad. But even through that, were you starting to get the edge? Like, man, I should try to catch them this tour, or it still wasn't even on your radar?
Wasn't even on the radar. You know, for me, being a middle-aged dude who, again, like you, I'll wear a Blink shirt to work, and people look at me like I'm a Trekker, like I'm a Star Trekky fan. Like, you know, like normies are like, oh, that, oh, you know, like, But I think with edging dominating streaming, like, and a colleague told me this like just a couple weeks ago, like they would see on their socials their friends from high school in the 80s and college in the 90s, because this colleague is a bit older than me, are like going to Blink shows and posting about it. And I had this moment talking with him where like it is multiple generations of, there's a 90s group of which I'm a part. There's like what I call the turn of the century group. That's like the 99 to 2000 Enema. There's the jacket generation. I kind of think of you as like the jacket generation. There's the Untitled kids that were like in middle school when I Miss You dropped. And then all the way through to now. So you have, it's like a layered cake, bro.
Totally.
Like it's like a layered cake of Blink fandom. And I'm in like the Davey-zoic era, like prehistoric.
Yeah.
But then there's all these layers all the way up to, I heard edging. These guys are rad. I want to go check them out. There's all these layers of fandom. But still, for me, Poppin', I was like, I did one arena show back in the day as a kid. It was not my scene. I don't think I'm gonna do it. Nope.
And when was the last time you had seen them with Tom? I feel like it was 99, 2000-ish. When was it?
We had talked about this on the pod. The last time I saw them with Tom, before I went on, I'm gonna make a little joke, before I went on hiatus, was 2000. And this was May 2000 at the Coors Amphitheater, which is technically Chula Vista. So it's like just east of San Diego. Okay. And this was a huge outdoor, what do they call it? Like an amphitheater.
Yeah.
Right? So not a stadium, an amphitheater. And this was, the opening bands were River Phoenix, that changed their name, they're Phoenix TX then, and Bad Religion. And you know me, I'm a huge Bad Religion fanboy. They're like my number one, like hardcore punk band. So I was like, I get to see BR as the opener for Blink. I got to go to this. It's like, I got to check this out. And I had only seen them because like Travis joined and then Enema broke, and I was like, and I saw them, I think maybe twice in '99. I know I saw the Warped Tour date and maybe one or two other dates, and then nothing. And then they did the this was Mark, Tom, and Travis show.
Yep.
So after they had recorded the live album, which was '99, I think, the 2000 tour was billed as Mark, Tom, and Travis. I'm sure you've seen pictures. This is like the movie theater drive-in setup. Like that was the setup, right? Huge screens. They had this like vintage, like it looked like a 50s car or something that like Travis had his drum riser on. And the stage was massive. The stage was like 50 yards long, and they're just like tiny little guys on it.
Yeah.
And I remember this popping. I was so stoked. Bad Religion, great. I had my disposable camera, right? So I took a bunch of pictures of Bad Religion, and then Blink came out, and I was on the barricade on Mark's side. But because of the way that amphitheater is set up or whatever, I felt like I was 400 yards from the band.
Yeah.
So even though I was on the rail, the photographer, like whatever security trench was massive. It was like 3 car driveways wide. So the shots that you can see from my disposable camera, even though I'm on the rail that I had taken a year prior, Mark's filling the whole frame. Here, he's like the size of a Lego guy.
Yeah.
And so the set was good, and I was stoked to see them, but it was really so not intimate. It was not what I had seen even a year prior, right? And that's when I kind of hung up my spurs. And it wasn't like, oh, they sold out or they suck. It was like I had lost that intimacy of the live music experience. I was kind of bummed when I got my pictures back, and I'm like, dude, I'm on the rail of the barricade and I can't even see them. They're like tiny little specks.
Yeah. And I think you hit on that, and probably I would bet that's in part 2 of our conversation, because I remember you saying like, yeah, you were so fucking proud of them for making it, and it's awesome. But at the same time, it was difficult for you because now it's like you saw this baby grow, and then it's almost like it just outgrew you and the intimacy of the shows that you had such fond memories of, I guess.
Yeah. And what's interesting is now I know, Poppin', based on all the photos I've downloaded over the years or whatever, that my experience was an anomaly. Because if you look at their shows into 2001 and 2002, like Honda Civic, Dollar Bill, all of that stuff, totally intimate theaters and halls where people are on the barricade and they're like 4 feet from the band. And so I had this weird anomaly amphitheater experience that bummed me out, when actually I might have been really stoked to go to some of those 01 and 02 shows.
Yeah. So it's been 23 years since you had seen them with Tom.
23 years since with Tom. Yep.
Good Lord. What's my age again?
No one likes you when you're 23, right?
Oh my God.
I know, dude. I was vibing on like, it's 2023. It's been 23 years since Tom. No one likes you when you're 23. Like the number was like haunting my dreams last week,
Shit was lining up. So they announced the tour. It's been 23 years. You see Coachella. They go through leg 1 of this tour. You still aren't on board with a ticket or going to a show.
Yeah.
What changes? When do you make this decision? And let's start getting into the show experience.
Well, and when Mark and I have chatted, it's been like, so Davey, are you going to make it to any of the shows? And like I said, no. So, he was under the impression that I was just out for the count, that I was I say retired. Mark uses the joking term inactive with Blink. So, when we'll be chatting about some moment that's like, in those years past 2000, he'll be like, oh, well, that's when you were inactive. And so, yeah, he was under the impression that I wasn't going to go. I was set that I wasn't going to go. To be perfectly honest with you, Poppin', this was a completely last minute decision.
And the Seattle, I guess, where did they play? Just what was the name of the stadium? Do you know?
It's called Climate Pledge Arena. So it's like the sports arena. Okay. I don't know sports, so I don't know what team plays there, but it's the indoor sports arena that's like directly adjacent to like the Space Needle, what's called Seattle Center.
Yeah. Was this the only really, I guess, potential, close one that you would even begin to think about attending, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to like travel to Canada. So this is my only like drivable in one day option, 6 hours and change.
I gotcha.
To get to Seattle. Yeah.
So you decide you're going to the show with Blink 182 bass project friend of the pod, Joey,
Yeah,
who's been on a
you've met
couple
Joey.
episodes.
He's been on the pod with you. Yeah, he's just one of my Blink buddies, one of my good friends. And he's in Pacific Northwest. And he was also drivable to Seattle. He had gone down to see the LA shows, was down there
Yeah,
for LA, I think with a bunch of mutual friends in the Blink community that went down to that show.
yeah,
So had seen them. And then I think I don't want to speak for him, but I think Joey was on the fence too. Like maybe Seattle would be cool. It's drivable, because he
yeah.
had already done LA, right? So we had been talking about maybe. And I was always non-committal. I was friendly and I was like, we'll see, maybe. I was just non-committal.
Yeah.
And he was going to go with his wife, Carrie. And so I think the show was Sunday night. I hit him up. I texted him on Friday. I'm like, I'm going to do it.
It was
And
spur of the moment.
yeah. And I think he texted back. There's the little meme gif of like the "it's happening" guy.
Yeah.
You seen that meme?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's happening. That's what he replied with. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I decided. I was like, let's make it happen.
You decide you're going to go. It's a big deal for you. 23 years. Do you get nervous? Are you trying to figure out what you're going to wear? I mean, this is pretty spur of the moment for you, I feel like. How are you feeling?
Well, and we didn't have tickets. So our thought was, hey, let's go and meet up in Seattle and have just a fun Seattle play date and hang out, because I hadn't seen them since last year. So like, let's have just a fun play date. And we know from experience that like you can watch as doors open and those ticket prices drop. And that's what we ended up doing. So I will just give some advice to anyone who's on the fence about going to a show. If the city is at any distance from you where it's close and it's doable, do it and wait for those doors to open, and you might luck out. We lucked out, you might luck out. So like, it happened. We got the tickets and it happened. But to back up, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna wear? I was on the fence. I get made fun of by my Blink friends because I don't believe in wearing the band shirt to the show when you're seeing the band.
Is that your rule?
It's been my, now I wasn't like that in the 90s. In the 90s, I would totally wear a Blink shirt to a Blink show. But older Davey is like, maybe it was my hipster years when I was in my 20s, but I just like, that's not cool. I like to be kind of witty and maybe wear something like band adjacent. So I think it's really cool. I don't know if you've done this, Poppin', but to flash a "Hi, my name is Mark." So that's like adjacent, like you're in the know, but it's not a Blink shirt.
That's been my thing forever.
Yep,
I would always rock Famous or "Hi, my name is Mark" in recent years.
I love the people who sport an old Plus 44, just to acknowledge that. I'll even give deference if you want to wear an Angel shirt. That's pretty cool. Or even like, I love the idea of wearing like something that Mark worked on, like a Motion City shirt, because he produced their album. So it's a little like I'm being adjacent and know what's going on, but without, I'm just not that guy to wear the Blink shirt at the Blink show. But I had to change my ways. I had to reform, Poppin', because, Mark doesn't know I'm going. I didn't tell him I was going. He's under the impression that Davey's retired, right? So I'm like, what can I wear to catch his attention? If I happen to get a wave from him in the crowd, I got to wear something to show it's me. So this is what I decided. And I consulted with Joey about this. We talked it through. I decided to, you've seen pictures of my little Blink wall in my house, right?
Oh, yes.
It's framed, right? And I have my older shirts in frames. I decided, okay, this is a shirt I have not worn since 1998. I'm going to take it out of the frame. I'm going to very carefully wear it to the show. Maybe Mark sees it. That'd be a cool moment, right? And then it's going right back in the frame. So I will tell you, Poppin', the last time I wore this shirt on my person was the last time I saw them play with Scott Rayner. So this was May 1st, 1998.
Palladium.
Hollywood Palladium. I'm on the barricade, on the rail, wearing this shirt. And I'm sure you've seen it. It's the Buddha era shirt. It has the handicap sign on the back, and it has the Scott Rayner bunny in that circle. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah. The navy blue one.
Right. So this is before they were making shirts with a company. It was hand screened in the garage. The screen printing is really thick. It's all cracked from over the years. I used to wear this thing all the time. Like it was my dorky shirt to just wear all the time. And I after I saw them with Rainer and then Travis joined, I just put that shirt in a box. I put it in a box. Didn't come out of the box until 2015 when I like hung some things and put them on my wall. So I haven't worn it since 98. I don't know how many years ago that was, but I haven't worn it since then. Well, let's see. So 23 years, 24, so 25. I haven't worn that shirt in 25 years. It's been framed on my wall. So I like carefully fold it, like put in my like travel bag. And I was nervous, like all credit to Joey who talked me into it. He's like, this is an emotional moment. This is about sentimentality. He's like, I say go for it. If the shirt gets a little torn in the pit, it gets torn. Whatever, dude. Right? And, you know, we didn't have tickets. Maybe I'm sitting in a seat. I don't have to worry about getting it messed up anyways.
Yeah.
So, and got to be honest with you, Poppin, you know, that's an XL shirt. Davey, middle-aged Davey is a double X. So I joked with Joey. I had to tuck in my gut, like hold my gut that whole night just to fit into this heckin' shirt.
Man.
And it's got little tatters on it. Like the tag has come off, you know, it's like, it's got sweat stains on it and stuff. The printing's all cracked.
Yeah.
But I was like, Joey talked me into it. He's like, man, this is your one chance to like 25 years ago, you wore that shirt the last time you saw them with Scott. This is your first time with Tom in 23 years. Are you telling me you're not going to wear that shirt? And I was like, yeah, you're right. I need to wear it. So,
dude, that is a ballsy. That is a ballsy call, my friend, because for those of you who don't know, for a little bit of reference here, there's one on eBay, and it's the first one I've seen on eBay in probably forever. I don't know that I've ever seen this one on eBay. Wow. It's at a listing price of $2,500. Incredibly rare, holy grail.
I was wearing $2,500 on my person.
Yeah,
like it could have gotten damaged.
And trusting that, yeah, with Jimbo behind you spilling his Pepsi during "I Miss You."
Oh man, I mean, yeah, you know, someone next to me with a beer, like those big festival cups.
Yes,
you know?
I don't know if I would have worn that if that were me, to be honest. But you know, it was the right call. It was nostalgic. I'm glad you were able to squeeze into it 25 years later.
And we'll get around to talking why it was so worth it and why I made the best decision of my Blink career. But
yeah, so ballsy call there by Davey, rocking the OG 1994 Buddha era shirt. You know, so many collectors would just kill to even have one of those and would leave it framed on the wall. Davey's rocking it. I guarantee you're the only one who's rocked that this whole tour, probably the last 15.
Yeah.
You make it to Seattle. You get tickets, it sounds like, when the doors open, which is rad. Good
after doors open, we ended up getting a set of GA Pit, opened up at a price that was doable to us. Doable means different things to different people. For us, the price was worth it, so we went for it. And we were down on the floor.
You're walking in. You're starting to get a little nervous. How do you feel about seeing so many Blink fans? That's one thing to me. I've hit on this so many times, dude. To me, part of what's so special about these shows is it's like you're with the home team and everybody's walking in on all their Blink gear and they're so stoked and excited to see Blink. But how did it feel to you? Was it surreal, special, just fucking rad all these years later to be walking into this huge arena with all these Blink fans?
Well, that's really interesting. Like someone was talking to me the other day and they said, hey, I'm going to a Blink date, but I'm going by myself. And I'm the number one proponent of going to shows by yourself because you can have a great time. And I told them the reason you can have a great time is you're in a room just full, 100% full of people who love what you love, and you're all there. It's like going to a movie premiere to like your favorite movie franchise or whatever. Like it's a packed house and everyone's there to see the thing that you're there to see. So go alone because you're not alone. You're in a room with however many thousands of people. I checked it. The capacity at this Seattle arena is 17,200 is the seats. So,
wow.
We walk down onto the floor area. I'm looking up. There's 17,000 people around me who all love what we love, and they're all there to just see what we're there to see. There's no feeling like it in the world.
It's crazy, dude. It's so special and unique. It really is. Yeah. So you make it down to the floor, pit which to me is kind of the only way to go. And I will say, we'll get into it, but the pits on this tour are great. They're small, which is good for the people there.
Again, advice to anyone who's thinking of going. If you know, after doors open, you see a GA pit ticket open up at a price that's reasonable to you, click buy now, because you will not regret it. And I think you'd agree, Poppin, whoever invented the diamond stage is a genius. Like they should win the Nobel Prize for live music if they have one, because the way it's constructed, the pit wraps completely around on all four corners.
Yeah.
And, you know, we showed up again after doors, like just before the first opener went on, and we're comfortably on the rail. No one pushing on us.
Yeah.
Like, and even when Blink went on, that whole area did not fill up.
Right.
It did not fill. So clearly they're not selling it at like whatever body to body capacity. They have a certain cap for whatever that area is.
Yep.
I'd say it's 3/4 full, and then there's still emptiness back to where the seats start. I would say, and I've been in the pit since '94, most comfortable pit experience I've ever had ever. I was on the rail. There was no one directly behind me. I didn't even sweat a drop during the entire show. So I'm saying, if you can do it, do it. Absolutely 100%.
Yeah, I was shocked when I walked out to the pit. I'm like, this is a small pit. And yeah, it was comfortable. It was not particularly rowdy or sweaty or anything like that. I was like you. I just stayed right in front of Mark. I just kind of got off to the side and was right on the rail. It was easy, to be honest.
Well, and you know, that's something to talk about. Like, so my first time I saw Blink ever, we were just kind of in the middle of the crowd in the pit because we were there to see a bunch of bands. Blink was there in the middle, and we had seen him for the first time, never had seen him. Oh, cool. You know, bought the CD, bought the shirt, on our way. The second time we went specifically to see them, and it was stage right in front of Mark. And I've been there stage right. And you know this about the Blink community. Some people are stage right Mark people. Some people are stage left Tom people. There's maybe one person in 500 that wants to be in the middle and look at the drummer. Really? But it's because they're a trio and they have two frontmen. It's very much a column A, column B choice, and you can see those fans and you know who they are.
Yep.
You're a stage right Mark guy. I'm a stage right Mark guy. So you know, when we made our way down there, we knew that's exactly where we were going to hang out. Right? We're to the stage right side of the middle of that diamond. And again, I've been that way since my second Blink show, so there was no question for me at all.
Nice. Who opened at yours?
It was a band called Destroy Boys. Was the first support act, as they call them.
Okay.
As we used to say in the '90s, the first support act. And then the second supporting act was Turnstile.
Okay, so you're chilling through those, and Blink's a couple minutes away. Finally, how you feeling, buddy?
Yeah, Destroy Boys was cool. They did they put on a great show. They were actually, I guess they're maybe Pacific Northwest oriented or grew up in Pacific Northwest, because the singer talked about how in high school they used to play shows at a local co-op that was just a few blocks away from the arena. And they commented that they were playing those shows in high school, and now they're here at this arena just across the street, and how that was a huge moment for them. Both bands were extremely grateful to Blink for bringing them out and giving them large exposure. I would say that the crowd was super positive for both of them. Not music I would necessarily like download or buy or listen to, but they were both great live acts.
Yes.
And Turnstile, I think it was Turnstile, like rocked a Rage Against the Machine cover that freaking killed it. Special shout out for Turnstile. Their bass player and drummer are both lit as fuck. They are so good. I mean, the whole band is good, but I had my eyes on the bass player and the drummer the entire time. Their rhythm section, like, definitely I would see them again live. Like, they were great.
Yeah, I dug Turnstile for sure. They were pretty rad. So Blink 915, you have not seen them walk out on the stage with Tom DeLonge in 23 years. The lights go down, they walk out. What's going through your mind?
Well, before the lights go down, let me tell you a little bit about the setup. So I was shocked at how simple their stage setup is, right? Because they're all on modeling now with amps. So there's no cabinets and no amps on the stage at all. Travis's drum kit is like pre-assembled, and it's already built on his rising platform. So it's like way up in the rafters, and they just lower it down. They
Yeah.
just lower it down and they're like, well, that's done. They like plug in the cables and that's done. Diaz and Jesus both come out with what I call a gig box. It's like a little box that's like open on the diagonal. And there's like, I think a lyrics monitor and the set list is in there and they've got some toys in it. And that's like where Mark's like little Garfield light sits. So they bring out the mic stands, they bring out the gig boxes. Tom has a very simple array of pedals that sit right to the left of his mic, between the mic and the gig box. Diaz and Jesus are like literally done in 5 minutes setting up. And then like the drum tech comes out and does his test hits. They've already line checked all the instruments. I think Jesus came out and just did a little play test, but Diaz has already line checked all his business. So like literally, I was so amazed at how efficient the set changes were. It was like, boom, turnstile's done, all their shit's out. They lower the drum set from the sky, they put the mic stands out, and the band's like ready to go. Like, just a far cry from my memories of the 90s with like walls of amps and like all this other shit. Nothing. And they're wireless, right? So like they just like run around the stage and there's like no connections to worry about or anything. It's kind of remarkable. So now I'm starting to get butterflies, right? And Joey and Carrie and I are talking about this. Like I've got butterflies 23 years since, Tom and Mark doing their thing or whatever. And I look around and like there's thousands of people in this arena that aren't even 23 years old. Right. Thousands of people that aren't 23 years old. Because again, there's 17,200 seats at this place. And I don't know if it was sold out, but it looked close to sold out. Close. So I'm starting to get butterflies and I'm like, is this really happening? And I know I have to do something to get Mark's attention when they come out because he doesn't know I'm there. As far as he knows from us chatting, I'm not going to be there. Right. So I kind of like put my fat ass belly kind of on the rail so that circle of the Blink shirt can kind of like be on top of the rail. Yeah. So I can like do a wave out. And I'm sure you know this from being on the barricade. The way these shows are lit, the band can clearly see like the first 2 or 3 layers of people. After that, it gets dark, but they can clearly see the first 2 or 3, maybe 4 layers of people while they're playing. Right. So as long as I'm there and he knows what I look like, because we've hung out, like as long as, he sees that shirt, he's going to know it's Davey. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So that's foremost on my mind. How do I get his attention? Because he doesn't know I'm fucking there. Right. And I'm just thinking about that, thinking of that. So finally the lights drop and like, have you ever been on a roller coaster where it's like clackety, 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 and then it pulls you over the first hill?
Oh, yeah.
I kind of felt that pull in my stomach
Man.
when the lights went out and the 2001 song starts. And then that animation of the smiley like drawing itself started to happen. I felt that drop in my stomach. And I kind of, Joey and Carrie are like right behind me. And I kind of like leaned back and I touched Joey's shoulder. And it's like that little static electricity moment where like it's really happening. Like this is really, it's really going to happen. Yeah. The lights drop and I'm thinking, are we ready? And we're ready. And, I have watched a bunch of video clips earlier, right? Like I saw the Coachella streams. I'll check, people will put up YouTubes like after one of the concerts go and I'll scrub through it, as they say. Like I won't watch the whole thing, but I kind of know the set list order, right? I kind of know the screens. I know the pyros and the effects. So there aren't like any surprises. And I don't know how you feel about spoilers. I'm okay about that. I'm like popping, like I'll read the wiki page of a movie like before I go see a movie for the first time. Like I'll read all about the plot. I don't care about spoilers at all. A lot of people mind that stuff. I don't care. Like, I'll be chatting with my friends. No, tell me the whole movie. Tell me the whole plot. But the interesting thing is, Poppin, is if I know everything that's going to happen, I can really dial in on the small things. Right. I can dial in on the small things that are unique to that night. Right. Because I'm not thinking about what song are they going to play next. Like I know they're playing Always next because I know the set. So I can really like focus on the small stuff, which to me is like really kind of important to like be there in the moment. Like what's unique about this night as opposed to like, because right. If the set and the effects are the same every night, it really comes down to like those small moments that make each night unique. Right.
Yeah.
Like, what was the banter or the joke or the funny thing that happened that night that didn't happen the night before? Right. So it's a paradox that the consistency of all the shows is what actually ironically makes them so unique, because you're looking at those small moments that did not happen the night before or the night before, even though the songs and the setup was all the same,
Yeah, that's interesting.
And like, God, what should I say first? I mean, so for context, right? I saw Blink like 40 or 50 times through 98, easy. And only a couple times in 99, that one time in 2000. And then just the Moosink in the California show. So that's where I'm sitting. I have no memory or emotional connection to 2000 all the way to now with Tom at all. Okay. So unlike you, like, I mean, had you had seen them during like Dollar Bill or Untitled? Like when?
Not Untitled, no. My first show was Plus 44, 2006, and then I didn't see
Wow.
him until Neighborhoods with Tom, which is crazy.
So your emotional connection is like, I remember Tom with the Neighborhoods reunion. That time.
Yes. Yep.
Got you. And did you see the Enema anniversary shows, like that stuff?
Yes, I saw those. And you know, we've talked about this, but I've been hardcore Blink since Damn It. I mean, with Dude Ranch, I just never saw him live.
Right, you never saw him live. Okay. So you missed him before they did hiatus for the first time, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. But you have a huge emotional grab bag to draw upon, right?
For sure.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I would say I was really impressed by how polished the performance is. I don't know what you thought, but I thought they were so dialed in. You know, they know the set, they know the stage, they know where they want to be for each song. They've rehearsed. They kind of know when to banter. They know when they're going to be sentimental. They have, you know, you did Chicago Night 1 and 2, right?
Yep.
Are those the only two that you've done so far?
Yes.
So you know there's like bits of monologue they repeat, right? And it's never quite exactly the same. So they have jokes that they kind of reuse, and they know when to put those. But they also say things that are just in the moment, right? That were different, right? From Chicago Night 1 and 2. So I kind of thought it was a great balance between Blink 95, 98, when it was like pretty loose. It was like really, seeing Blink then was very much Night at the Improv. There were very few repeated jokes, right? Versus when I saw them in 99 and 2000, it felt a little more scripted because they were locking into that larger stadium set where they had to play the same set list because there's all this media production going on. They can't deviate. So they do fall into a rhythm of like, hey, I dissed Tom after that one song because that's where it falls in the rhythm, right? So I felt it was a great balance between those two, between Night at the Improv Blink and the more scripted, polished production Blink. I really kind of think they hit the sweet spot. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I thought that too. And, you know, during the Skiba era, a lot of folks had complained that maybe the banter wasn't there. And I've never, you know, thought that was Skiba's fault. I tell people all the time, Tom and Mark are so fucking funny, even just on their own.
Yeah.
So to get those two combined together, I mean, there's not a duo of too many folks who are going to be that fucking funny and witty in the world, on the planet. So yeah, there were definitely different joke points and focal points during the sets for me, but my takeaway was they sounded amazing.
Yes.
I mean, I thought they sounded amazing. Like, even Tom, a lot of people shit on Tom sometimes for his vocals or whatever.
No.
Crushed it.
No. And we could all laugh. And I think, you know, if we said this to Mark and Tom's face, they wouldn't have a problem with it. But there were moments during the first reunion where Tom was like pretty clammy and kind of lazy and like, whatever, that's the vibe that he was in. Dude, Tom was so rehearsed and so on point. Like I caught maybe, for those who don't know, music nerd term for when you like futz a note or a part is called a clam. So when you say, oh, I clammed it, or that was a clam, it's when you missed a note. I caught maybe two of those. Like Tom was so rehearsed. Like even What's My Age Again, he didn't biff the riff that I heard that night. And of course they're playing to a click. And there's like punk purists that get mad about that. Dude, Poppin', the reason you have to play to a click is because all the media production and the pyros and the cannons are tied to the beats in the song. Yeah. So if you don't play to a click, the whole production falls apart. So of course you have to play to a click. Everyone from Tay Swift on down to Turnstile plays with a click. So the fact that they do it and they're practiced means that when Travis does the fill, the fire goes right up with the fill because they're on a click. So yeah, I think the punk purist hipster Brooklyn vegan people can fuck off because that's how you do a large scale production for 17,000 people that want to have a good time is you do a heckin' click. Like a football team rehearses their plays. Hello, they're not out there just making it up. Am I right?
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. It's like, it's entertainment. It's a production. It's a massive production. And when people complain about that with either the click or backing or set lists, lack of set list changes or whatever, to me, all it does to me is it shows me how naive you are, which I guess is maybe a cool thing in your own mind. But to me, it just shows that you have no fucking clue how any of this stuff really works.
Nope. And the way I would compare it is like, if, seeing a punk show in a club, that's like a comedy improv night at like the Comedy Store, where you just go and you don't know what the person's going to say. This is like going to a Broadway musical on Broadway. So take it for that. Like, you're going to see fucking Phantom of the Opera. Love it for what it is.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is,
So they come out, start ripping Anthem 2. Are you taken back to the days of, you're a young Davey on the rail watching Blink again? Were you just stoked? I mean, what emotions kind of were flying through you at the time?
Well, I don't know, Pop, and I think the Blink gods were with me or something, because lights go down. They do the 2001 intro. As Anthem Part 2 gets underway, Mark just comes straight for us. Okay? So we are on the barricade. So you know how the diamond is, right? So there's the front point of the diamond, right? And then there are the corners, as I call them, which are the points of the diamond to farthest stage right and farthest stage left. And then the diamond goes back to the rear point, right? And Travis's kit is set 3/4 of the way back into the rear quarter, which is where the ramp or stairs, according to the arena setup, that's where the band enters from, right? And the pit area, I'm assuming at most of these diamond shows, wraps around all 4 planes of the diamond, right?
Yes.
So we kind of got a sense that if we're not going to get squeezed here, the best place to hang is on that furthest point stage right. So my tummy is right. Think of like if you were at the middle point, the equivalent space of that, because they're not sharp points, right? There's a flat area. The equivalent point of that to the furthest stage right is exactly where my belly is with my Blink shirt. Okay. So it's the furthest stage right I can be from opposite stage left. And you've seen the band live, so they have Mark he kind of skips around. He does kind of a skipping thing. Tom is more stationary. He'll run around a little bit and say hi, but he really likes to hang in like his Tom zone, like by his mic. He's there for the majority of the time. Tom likes being up front. Mark is like, I don't know if it's like because he's doing his steps with his Apple Watch or whatever, but he's like, I'm gonna run 3, 4, 5 miles. Heck, y'all, I'm gonna do it. And he does it kind of skipping, which is it's really fun to watch. So Anthem 2 gets underway. He skips over straight for us, okay? And he comes right towards me playing and looks me right in the eye and sees my shirt and sees me, and he kind of waves hello with his smile. Like, have you ever waved hello when your hands are full to someone?
Oh yeah.
Maybe you got grocery bags and you see someone at the grocery store and you're like, hey, and you say hi with your eyes. Well, his hands are full. He's playing the bass. He said hi with his eyes. And he's just got this big ass grin on his face. And I point down to the bunny on my shirt, and Mark nods and grins. And then he runs away. And then he runs away and skips off to another part of the stage.
Ah, man. Real, recognized real. Yeah. Mark Hoppus.
So he was like, fucking Davey's here. What the fuck is up?
That's right? Awesome. So the shirt pays off.
Dude, I am so glad Joey convinced me to take the shirt out of the frame, because he saw it right away and was like, what the fuck is up, dude? Because he knows what I look like. So he put 2 and 2 together. He saw the shirt, and there we go.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, who else is going to be wearing this right in front of me right now?
Yeah. And I'm assuming he knows what Joey looks like, because Joey was on the barricade at LA.
Yeah.
And Joey has this big frizz of blonde hair, which is like super hard to miss. So he saw like the 2 of us. He doesn't know what Joey's wife looks like, but he saw the 2 of us. And the first thing he did was to just say this visual hello to us. And immediately, my heart just filled with joy. And I'm like, this is going to be a fucking night, Poppin'. This is going to be a night, dude.
That's awesome, man. And I bet Mark was so stoked.
I mean, he wore it all over his face. He was like, fucking old school, fucking 90s dude is here. That's what this is about. Because he knows I haven't seen them with Tom since 2000. He knows all my history. We've talked about all of that. So he knows. Just freaking wild, man.
Dude, so much history there. And you know what's crazy? He probably hand screened that shirt you were wearing.
Yeah.
All those years prior.
Yeah.
Almost 30 fucking years prior, Mark was making that shirt. Blink was nothing yet.
Yeah. And he's looking right down on it. And he's like,
and he's looking right down on it at a sports arena in Seattle with the comeback tour with Tom. I mean, dude, it's fucking crazy.
And my heart filled up because I'm in a room with 17,000 people. And Mark looks at me like, thanks for coming, dude. Like, that's exactly what that moment was. And I was just blown away.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So throughout the set, I mean, did you have like some favorite parts or songs you were really looking forward to?
Definitely, definitely. I will say it. So is Rock Show the second song after Anthem Part
I'd
2?
have to look at the set list. It
Yeah,
was
I don't
towards the
know.
top, but yeah.
But after Rock Show, like I'm nudging back and forth with Joey and Carrie. After Rock Show, something is definitely up. Okay. Because I've watched some tour videos and I've seen how Mark kind of runs the stage. And he comes over to that stage right far corner, but not this much. Like he's clearly spending a ton of time with us over at this far corner. So like, and this is kind of my observation for the whole set, but like, unless he's on the lead vocals at the front, right? Or the one or two times when he moves the stand, there's a couple times in the set where he moves his mic stand. He was basically playing over by us. And he's mugging with a huge ass grin. He's having this amazing time. I got 2 hops. He did 2 hops right in front of us, or just to the right of us on different songs. So not only did he like acknowledge that we were there, but he's like, I'm gonna give you guys a lot of show over here. So throughout the set, I felt like even though we're in this huge arena, like there were all these kind of like, hey, this is like a private Blink show moment where I'm gonna come hang with y'all. And I'm sure he does that with old fans that he notices at the different cities. I'm not like some special snowflake. He's just like, hey, I'm going to go hang with these old schoolers because they know what's up. And that was really, really cool.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, and he knows Joey. I mean, Joey's the one who's been doing
Yep.
a ton of research on his basses and
Yeah,
such.
yeah.
So
No, they talk about the basses and all of that. And so, like, he's basically like, I mean, all respect to Carrie, Joey's wife, but, you know, Mark doesn't know what she looks like. But he's like, here are these 2 dudes. I've talked to these dudes. One guy's really old school. Another guy's a super bass nerd. I'm going to go have a show with these guys in the corner for a lot of it. It really felt like that in a lot of ways and a lot of the things that I remember.
all right. So Mark has recognized you in the front row with the OG Buddha era shirt on. He's skipping around. It's rad. You're seeing Blink for the first time in 23 years with Tom. You know, any other key takeaways? You haven't heard really most of these songs live in some time, if not ever. So any other takeaways from the set?
Well, it's funny, like, you know, when you watch a show, you're very much in the moment. And it wasn't until I was like driving home that I thought, like, dude, I haven't even seen most of these songs live, right? So if I last saw them in 2000, that means I haven't even heard Man Overboard. I've never seen Man Overboard live because they weren't playing it until after the single had dropped. And this, you know, that was before in 2000. I haven't heard any of the Jacket tracks. I don't remember what was played during the Skiba era, but I probably haven't heard like Ghosts on the Dance Floor. I haven't heard most of this stuff, right? Dysentery, Gary, Sure, and Dumpweed, like I had heard those, and of course, Damn It. So the majority of the set, the vast majority, is like completely fresh to me, completely new. And I hadn't even thought about that until I was driving home. But yeah, I do want to touch on, there are several moments where Mark did clearly like what's ups to just like us. When I say us, I mean Joey, Carey, and I, like just moments to us. So when Diaz, you guys don't know Brian Diaz, right? Is Mark's bass tech. He's the one that like hands him his basses. So when Diaz passed him Relic, it was kind of early on in the set. Mark came right over, and for a moment during the song they were playing, I don't remember what song it was, but there was like a pause or a sustained note. So Poppin, he flips Relic over to us to see the back. So he like twists the strap and he lets Relic just rest on his chest for that break in the song. And his expression seemed directed at Joey as if to say like, here, check it out. Back of Relic. You've seen it, nerd. Here it is. And he just like did it like that just so Joey could see the back of Relic. And then he flipped it over and he went away.
That's
And
funny.
like, I haven't seen him do that in any of the videos. And that seemed clearly like he's like, what's up, Joey? Yeah, this is the back of Relic. Now you've seen it, you know, because there's parts of it that are torn and worn on the back of it.
Yeah.
So that was great. So I don't know if you remember this, before Reckless Abandon, Tom has been doing kind of this like rambling monologue about how he started the band. Did he do that at Chicago?
No,
Or did he start that later?
I don't think so, but I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Where he's like, I was rollerblading in the Swiss Alps. Like it's some rambling.
I've heard him do something similar to that before, but that may have been at an Angel show. I don't know.
I definitely know he did it in LA and San Diego. So he's been doing it. And it's like his like, I don't know, fictional origin story for how the band got started. He's like, I was rollerblading in the Swiss Alps. But it's like, it's silly and it's like totally Tom, right? But this night, he started talking about all this other random shit popping, and it went off in some direction. I went and found a clip of it on YouTube. And Tom's like, he's got this idea for a new beverage. So maybe he's making a coffee joke because it's Seattle. It's Tom is maybe high. I don't know if he vapes before he goes on stage, but he sounds high. It's unhinged nonsense. It's the classic Tom that we know and love, but he's a total nut job, right? And Mark has this like slow bass intro chords that he's come up with that he does, while Tom is doing his monologue. So when he strolls over to me, I do this big dramatic shrug, and I yell to Mark, "What the fuck is he even talking about?" And oh, this is so clear to me, Poppin. Mark shrugs and he shakes his head like he's like an embarrassed or disappointed father, and he looks down like he's ashamed, and like he chuckles, and it looks like he mouthed to me, "I don't even fucking know, dude." So we just had this huge laugh moment about like, we love Tom, but he's such a like crazy dipshit sometimes. Yeah. It was, we laughed so hard, and Mark was laughing as he's looking at me. And so he's like, "I don't even fucking know, dude."
It's truly like, what the fuck is he talking about? And he got himself into this. He's getting himself out of it.
He's got to talk himself right out of it so we can just play the song that we're supposed to play.
Oh my gosh.
So like little moments like that when like a band member acknowledges, yeah, this guy's doing that thing that he does. This is great.
Yeah. How did you react to hearing Edging live? Were you like me, where you were kind of surprised, like how into it the crowd was?
The crowd bopped, and they I didn't really look up that much up into the seats, but at least on the floor, people were doing the bounce hop that you do in the chorus to those big chorus songs.
Yeah.
There was a huge crowd reaction. That reminds me, do you remember in Coachella where Mark would like, there'd be a slow or an easy part and he would overhand the fretting kind of
yes.
Like,
yep.
And he kind of made a face like, yeah, this part's kind of,
Yep.
Jake, his manager, I think called it lazy. That what he did at Coachella was lazy, and gave Mark a hard time about it. So when he did this on one of the songs, it may have been, maybe it was the edging like pre-chorus. There was some moment that's just a few slow notes, and he did the overhand fretting.
Yes.
He's looking at us, and I kept pointing at him, and I'm like, "You're fucking lazy. You're lazy." I'm calling him lazy like this. I don't know if he saw me, but the look on his face was like, "Fuck you. So what? This is what I'm doing. Get over yourself. I'm a little tired. This is my moment where I just overhand a fret because I'm whatever."
I think it's rad. He does it if it's like first, second, or third fret sometimes, like with some slow movement there. Yeah, I've seen that in the past.
And I'm like, "You're lazy. You're fucking lazy," because I know that Jake said that. And the look on his face was like, "Get over yourself."
So as far as like the production goes, because as we talked about earlier, I mean, there's a lot of folks involved. I mean, this was a big ordeal. How did you feel about kind of the background stuff happening, the overall visual effects and everything for the show?
I mean, like I said, if you want a punk show that's evening at the Improv, you go to the Comedy Store. This is Broadway. You're going to see Broadway. You're paying to see Broadway. Give me fucking Broadway, Poppin', right? And I think I don't know much about stadium or arena shows and what the production value is like, but for me, this was like Super Bowl halftime. It was just like unbelievable.
Yes.
I loved, what did you think of the lasers in Aliens Exist? Like,
oh my gosh,
dude,
it was killer.
It's all dark with the smoke, and these lasers are just shooting out, and it feels like the end of like Close Encounters, which is what they were going for, right? I was really focused on the band members, so I didn't look to see what was happening on the screens. And I had seen Coachella, so I know the animations. But looking out with the band members into the crowd, those lasers are just like wires, like going straight out.
Yes.
And they're so, I guess laser technology is so good that they're like so thin and bright, and the smoke just crawls through them. And it's like, I just love that. I thought
it was rad.
Those vertical plumes of dry ice or coconut oil or whatever that shoot up. I know, like, I think it's in, is it Up All Night where they just, boo, da-na-na-na, boo, da-na-na-na. It has they're like, did you catch the smell at Chicago? They smell kind of like, it's like a car wash smell, like a new car shampoo smell, maybe?
I don't recall that, but I've got bad allergies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it kind of smelled like a car wash a little bit. It's funny, every time they went off, one goes off like right next to Mark on that stage, right? He shut his eyes and he kind of let the smoke like fall over him. And it's like, there's little bits of crystal on it. It's kind of still frozen. And he would smile, kind of like when a dog closes their eyes and they shake the water off, their coat, And I'm guessing, dude, it probably gets hot up there. So like when those cold like columns of stuff go up, it's like probably refreshing to just like stand in that and let it like fall all over you,
How'd you feel about Skankin' Rabbit popping out of the back?
I think it's really cool when a band pays tribute to their iconography, right? And all kinds of bands do this. Like Pearl Jam will be like, here's the alive guy, the little stick man that I think their bass player drew, Jeff Ament drew, like back in the day. Like whenever bands like reach back into their grab bag of iconography, I think it's really cool. So they really cover all the eras. They embrace the smiley, they embrace the enema with the nurse and like the ambulance and the medical theme of the artwork that Tim Stedman did for that. We've got the Court Jones bunny in effect, like as a pattern and as this big like New Orleans parade puppet or whatever. Like it's really rad that they touched upon all the little visual iconographic kind of periods of the band.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's rad about that Skankin' Rabbit, it's meant, I would think, to mimic that 1999 like Loser Kids t-shirt, because it's got that circle.
It's the circle with
the
the
yellow
circle and the yellow
yes.
trim. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how many folks pick up on that, but as the nerd I am.
That was the one that was in the mail order sheet for the first pressing CDs of Enema. Like it was in there.
Yep.
And it was on one of the 99 dates that I bought the original plush. They had it at the merch stand, the original plush bunny. I got one of those in 99. And I still have it.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really rad that they tribute all that. They didn't like come up with some new mascot. They're like, we're just going to embrace all the stuff that we have had from before.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as like the set list goes, how did you feel about, I guess, the eras being represented, or, set time length, the set list in general?
Well, like I'm not on Reddit or any of these other websites, but sometimes I'll scan around and there is some scuttlebutt, like, internet, butthurt warriors complaining about like, where's the deep cuts? Like the big joke with Marcus Strings, right? Like, why didn't you play strings? And Mark will go strings, like he chats with us about that. But I am just going to push back on these internet butthurt warriors and argue that no, there are deep cuts in the set list, right? So Violence, not a single. Dysentery, Gary, Dumpweed, not singles, right? They're fan favorites, and the radio crowd who only knows the singles might not know the songs. But I was thinking about this on my drive home, Poppin'. They played those songs a ton live back in the day, right? Violence was a set staple for years. Dysentery, Gary, and Dumpweed, set staples for years. So if you had seen them live before, you would know those songs, right? And obviously, if you've bought the albums, you would know those songs. So I think it's a good compromise, right? So casuals, may know them if they've seen Blink live before, if they bought the record, but the songs aren't singles.
Right.
So I think that's a good strategy. I think that's a way to kind of please everybody. So I was really happy, I think, with the set list. Mark's been very clear about this. He's said it a lot of times. Look, we're playing a Broadway style production to like 20,000 people every night. We got to deliver the goods. We need to do all of our hits, and they do all the hits, but they still have some. Dude, I didn't expect Dysentery Gary or like Reckless Abandon. Like, did you expect those?
No, and like Don't Leave Me. I mean, Ghost on the Dance Floor.
Dude, when they played Don't Leave Me at Coachella, I was like, that's a deep as cut as Apple Shampoo, right?
Right. I mean, I truly felt that, and I've said this, if you put a squirt gun to my head and said, pop in, make a change. Yeah, I would selfishly try to throw in like M&M's or Josie.
Sure.
But all things considered, I thought the set list length was absolutely perfect. That hour and a half. I thought they covered everything they needed to cover. There was no lows in the set for me. There was no part where I was like, this would be the time to go take a piss or see people leave.
There's no perfect time for a pee break. You stay for the whole thing.
Exactly. So from that standpoint, I thought it was absolutely perfect. Yep. And again, for the folks that complain about that and, why don't they change it up or why aren't they doing that? All it does to me is it shows me you literally have no clue how stuff works on this level. I get it. Believe me, I understand. I get it. I would love to hear Wasting Time Live with Tom and the full band, or, M&M's or Touchdown Boy. Hell, it's something like that.
Of course.
It's not going to happen to 18,000 people on this type of scale of a tour. It's just not. So,
well, it's like what they say, like when you're chatting online, it's like, read the room, dude. Yeah. Read the room. The room is a fucking hockey arena. So if you're reading the room, you know exactly what kind of show they have to deliver, and they do it really, really well.
Right.
Yeah.
So any other song highlights or takeaways from either production or the set?
Well, there's two moments I want to talk about. And they're both kind of emotional moments. One is emotional personally just for me, and one was just a moment where it was like my favorite part of the concert of the whole show. Okay. So they have the block of songs that they are more emotional, and Mark he makes a joke. They're like the emo block of songs.
Yeah.
So it's like Stay Together for the Kids, Always Down, I think Bored to Death, I Miss You, and then Adam's Song. That's like, we're going to go a little more deep, a little more emotional. Then we're going to go back to the dick and fart jokes, right? And I think they're very smart to block those songs together, right? Because those are all, if you're going to have a little like tear, it's going to be in that block, right? From Stay Together to Adams, it's going to be in that block, right? So did he do a little, I know he did one at Coachella. At Chicago, did he do a little moment kind of about cancer and stuff like before Adam's Song?
Yes. Yeah. And he even talked about that it was like basically around suicidal thoughts.
He said like, and he's been open with this. Like he told Sky, his wife, he's like, I don't even know if I want to go through chemo. Maybe I should just throw in the towel.
Yeah.
He said he felt like dying. He said he felt like giving up. And that's what he was channeling when he wrote Adam's Song. So it's appropriate. He's not like some rock star shoehorning it in. It's appropriate to the fucking song.
Yeah.
And he knows, because fans have told him how much that song has like saved other people's lives and gotten them through shit. Adam's Song is just one of those songs and pop culture that just affected a lot of people. So did you have kind of an emotional moment on the barricade at Chicago when he kind of talked about that?
Night one, yes. Adam's Song fucked me up, dude. Pretty hardcore. Like, and I don't think I've ever like cried at a show or been, I ride the ups and the downs, but I'm not like to that zone of being emotional or whatever. And yeah, he talked about that, and just knowing what Mark has been through with his cancer, the past couple years and the pandemic and everything, it was just a really deep moment. And then to play Adam's Song, I mean, I was right where you were, right in front of Mark. And here we are, we're through the pandemic. He beats cancer. He's back with Tom. He talks about it leading up. And then there he is playing Adam's Song right in front of you. Yeah. And just watching him sing and then looking around and just seeing how invested everybody was and emotional. Mm-hmm. Dude, I was fucking crying. Like I was just tearing up and crying. And I looked behind me. There was a couple people from Mark's Discord behind me that I knew. Yeah. And I looked around after the song. I was wiping my eyes like, that song fucked me up, like for real.
Yeah. Well, so Adam's Song is interesting for me. I have a different emotional connection to it than I think other fans. A lot of people were at a time in their life or an age in their life where it hit them really hard. When that song came out, like I was in my 20s, I was in college. So I didn't have the connection maybe like a middle schooler or a high schooler might have to those like moments of depression. Like I didn't really have any depression periods when I was in college. But dude, in high school and middle school, absolutely, because you're going through all the hardest shit in your life, right? Yeah. That's usually when you break up with someone for the first time, or like your parents split up. That's what Stay Together for the Kids is channeling. But when Adam's Song dropped, that emotional life was behind me. So my deep connection to that song, and I think we talked about this before, Poppin', is the music video. Because the music video is this deep tribute going all the way back to the pre-182 days with all the ephemera on the wall and all the photos that like the band members had scanned in for the montage. Like that is what hits me hard, because visually it's channeling into my experiences with the band in the 90s. So I don't have any connection to the lyrics. For me, it's the video. So when I hear the song, even to this day, all those images of the old show pictures and flyers are what are hitting me really hard. So I don't know if he did this for Chicago, but he's been moving his main mic to the far right stage corner just for Adam's Song.
Yes. Yep.
Just for Adam's Song. So that means he's singing Adam's Song to us, to me and Joey and Carrie. He's right there. Not just hanging out for a moment. He's parking himself there to sing the entire song. Yep. So like, what do the Jews say? Kismet, fate. Maybe we picked the perfect place to like to have that. So his little monologue about cancer and finding hope in a dark place, like he words it a little differently at each show. And I think you can hear him on some of the YouTube videos, like choke up when he says it. He choked up when he said it at Coachella. So I don't think it's like a stage moment for him. I think he's being pretty real.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I went back and checked the clip before our conversation to make sure I'm not misquoting him. But what he said was, his words that night were, I have family members here. I have friends here. People who helped me get through my sickness. And that's the moment pop him when he looked directly at me. Like, he wasn't looking at stage right. He made eye contact directly with me when he said, I have friends here, people who help me get through my sickness. And that's when I kind of lost it a little bit. Like, and as you mentioned, people on the barricade have had a similar experience before, when he said that, and I was crushed, and I got pretty emotional as he started into the song. So, like, every feeling over the past, it's been almost 2.5 years, right? The pandemic, then cancer, then chemo, then the band reuniting, like, all of this flooded into my body. That second Mark looked at me and said, I have friends here tonight, people who help me get through this. I was crushed. He might be a famous musician and everything, and he knows when to play around, but he knows when to be real. And that, I got to tell you, Poppin, that was super fucking real.
Yeah, no, I was the same way whenever that song happened. And I mean, I was looking around and dude, there were a lot of tears, man. It was a special moment. And it's one that it's funny because I went to Vegas to catch their residency, mostly just to hear Adam's song live because they hadn't played it in forever. They retired it after DJ AM passed away because it was too hard to play.
I didn't know that, or maybe you told me before, but wow.
Yeah, they retired it for a long time. And
was Coachella then the first time it was back?
Well, they played it at the residency in 2018.
I see.
It was the first time it was back, and that was a big reason.
And the Enema all album set they would have.
And then the next summer, it's kind of funny because I flew out there. A big part of it was because of that. And then the next summer, they play it every single show. But yeah, I got to see it every single show at the Enema of the State 20th anniversary or whatever. But this was the first time I had heard it with Tom live, which was a big deal. And again, knowing what Mark had just went through, and with us kind of being there in some capacity with either his Discord or Twitch streams or whatever, like, it is a sense of like, yeah, Mark's our friend in some capacity, whatever level of it is, that's your friend up there. And this moment is real, it's happening. And my mind, as I was looking around, I was just like, I'm so fucking happy he's here for this. And I'm so happy that everybody here is getting to enjoy this and smile and have a memory to take home with and keep forever. Because it truly is a special moment. And, you saw it for a long time, and we see this as Blink fans. You don't know when they're just going to break up and not tour for 5 years or whatever. You don't know in Blink land.
Yep. And I think that was a big part of deciding to reunite and do an album and do a tour is life can change on a dime. And I think Travis knew that from the plane crash. And certainly Mark was like, shit, I could be gone tomorrow. We need to fucking seize the moment and carpe diem, seize the day. Yeah, it could all be taken away in an instant, right?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, he's jokingly said he's not even supposed to be here, if this was in caveman times without modern medicine or whatever. So so that definitely was a highlight for me. Anything else in the set that stood out to you? You said you had 2 stories you wanted to hit on.
Yeah, just my favorite part of the whole show. I don't remember what song it was, but I think it was during that emo block. Sky, Mark's wife, right? She's been on tour with him, I think, for most of the dates. And she'll do Instagram live from her phone. I saw her doing that at one point from behind Travis. But at one point, she brought who looked like her father down into the barricade trench. And I know Sky's parents are like Pacific Northwest, so this would have been like the show for them to come if they were going to come. And she like brought her dad down, this like old man, and there was like a little step stool bench, and she like carefully like helped him get up on the step stool bench so he could film with his phone like pictures and video right below Mark's primary mic stand on whatever song they were singing. And that just touched my heart so much. Like, they were there for maybe a song or a song and a half, and then she like quickly escorted him out, and they were gone. Just like that, like little moments where it's like friends in real life.
Yeah.
That was clearly her dad. And she's like, yeah, come check out Mark. Like, I'll walk you down into the thing, and you can just, and I think she posted a photo on her Instagram that was clearly taken during that moment, because it's like from Mark's shoe looking right up. And that's exactly where they were. So
that's awesome.
That was just really touching. It reminds you that, like, sure, like, to us, these are like famous musicians, but they're actually just real people with like real lives and family. And to them, it's like, hey, do you want to see your son-in-law at work? Let's go see your son-in-law at work. It was adorable moment.
Yeah. And that's something that, and I think it probably ties with me just getting older and little bit more mature, I would say. But the older I get, you start to realize it's like they're just people. Like they're just people, and this is their job, and they're really blessed and lucky, and artistic and amazing musicians. But they still deal with shit. They still have days they don't want to deal with, bullshit they don't want to deal with. They write better songs than us, but at the end of the day, they're just normal people.
And that's what really broke me up about that album song moment, because that was a moment where like he wasn't being a rock star. He was talking to me, Davey, who he's talked with a lot. And like, I'm not like his best friend, but I'm in his life. And he had that moment that was just a you and me moment that was really cool.
Yeah. The next morning, I wake up to one message from you and one message only. And it says, find Cynical. Tell us why Cynical was so important to be found the next morning after your show.
Yeah. Wow. I got to kind of prepare myself for a moment. I don't know how to talk about this. Because it was really funny, but it's like on retrospect driving home, it was actually like really deep too. It was really what there's no other word for it. It's really fucking special. So Cynical was a big moment for me. And this was first of those 2 times that he moved the mic position. So he comes to stage right, far stage right for Adam's song, but for Cynical, he goes far stage left, right? And he's been doing that pretty consistently, I think, on the tour from the videos that I've seen. He's like, that's Tomland. I'm going to go over and hang out with Tomland. And there's an irony to that, right, Poppin? Because Cynical is a Skiba era song.
Yeah.
So he picks the Skiba era song to be like, I'm going to go to Tom's side of the stage now and like assert my presence. So that's an inside joke between him and Tom, obviously, that he's decided to come over to Tomland and be there for this little short song moment. And if you watch the video, because I think the whole show is on YouTube now from someone, he like bantered with someone in the crowd who had a Buc-ee's t-shirt on. I guess that's a Texas like fast food chicken joint or something. He spotted this guy in the Buc-ee shirt. He was chatting with him, some guy in the far seats, and his date or whatever. And so after that moment, he starts Cynical. And Cynical starts with that short little bass lick, right? Before it just blasts into a full Travis fucking attack, right? Has this little slow moment. Now remember, he's directly opposite from me, from Joey and Carrie and I. He's the furthest he could possibly be from me. Okay.
Yeah, facing the other way.
Facing the other way. So his back is to us and we can't even see him because he's way over on the other side of the stage. Okay. So in the pause after the intro part, I think the lyric goes, what is it? Are you back again?
Yeah.
Right? No, is it back again? Are you back again? And right after that moment, he raises his fist and he yells out, you can see it on YouTube, he yells out to the entire arena kind of joyously, so much has happened since Dude Ranch. And then the fast part of the song starts and Mark came bolting directly towards me, laughing, going, ah, like that, directly to my face. You can see it on YouTube. He walks directly across and Tom has to like do a little dancey moment to get out of his way because he clearly went right to me to go, ah ha ha, fucker. And then he ran right over to the other side and completed the song.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, we should talk about like what that line means because
context wise, it's a bit of an inside joke, but context wise, tell us why that's so important.
That's a deep inside joke between Mark and I personally. One night we were chatting and I think I had just discovered Poppin', don't make fun of me. I had just discovered there was a video for When Your Heart Stops Beating. Like I didn't know that there was a music video for that because I was, as Mark said, I was absent from Blink during that time.
Yeah, inactive.
And I think that when that video dropped, YouTube didn't even exist. So like I wasn't watching MTV or anything. I didn't see it at all. And I discovered it on YouTube like one night. This must have been 2 years ago. And we're chatting and I was like, I just saw the video for When My Heart Stops Beating Again. It's actually pretty good. And Mark replies to me and goes, Davey, a lot has happened since Dude Ranch. Okay. like to burn me, like to roast me. He's like, yeah, you fucking checked out, dude. I've had a whole career and like had platinum selling fucking records and toured the world or whatever after you stopped paying attention.
Yeah.
And he did a lot in all caps. He's like, Davey, a lot has happened since Dude Ranch. So that's become like a joke between us. And he said it before. At one point, he found some Funkos, not the Enema 3 of them, but remember he had like his own Funko?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he found some at his house. And he was like, "Hey, I'll mail these to someone if you give $50 to my cancer charity or whatever." And I was like, "Hey, Mark, I'll do that." So I gave him the $50 for charity. He mailed me the Funko. I open it up and he signed it. And he has like his Cheshire Cat smiley. Have you seen that he does that?
Oh yeah.
It's like a pink paint pen marker. And on the side of it, I turn the side and it says, "A lot has happened since Dude Ranch, Davey." So like he's ripping me again.
I love it.
When he mails me the Funko Pop, right? He won't let go of it. So that's our private inside joke about how I just like stopped paying attention to the band and he was giving me a hard time for it. And he said that to 17,000 people.
I love it. A lot has happened since Dude Ranch, Davey.
Yeah. And and the a lot emphasis only works in chat. So he amended and he said, "So much has happened." Praise the Lord. So much has happened since Dude Ranch. Which is funny because the first clip someone sent me was an Instagram reel of someone filming that. And you hear the person next to them who's filming it. Right after he says that, they go, "Oh, I love Dude Ranch."
Yeah, 17,000 other people.
17,000 people, right? And then he runs right over to me and goes, "Ah, fucker. I fucking burned you in front of the whole arena."
What an epic. And that is just so Mark.
Yeah.
That's so Mark.
It's so Mark. And then after the song ended, I turned behind to Joey and he has this kind of dumbfounded expression, but then he kind of like slowly nodded sagely as if to say, like, of course Mark would do something like that. Like, that's so Mark. And then he goes, "Yep, that was for you."
Oh my God. That's pretty epic, dude. That's pretty fucking epic.
What's funny is I didn't even know the context for when he said it. Did you know that there's a context for when he said it? Like he could have said something like that at any time.
I don't think so.
Dude, I didn't know this, but someone pointed this out to me like just yesterday or the day before. If you look at video clips of the shows that have happened since, that moment when he goes, "Is it back again? Are you back again?" He says, "Tom is," and he points to Tom, and that's Tom's little moment to laugh. Like, "I've quit the band twice." Ha ha ha. So do you understand that? What that means is he was saying, "Are you back again?" Davey's back seeing us with Tom after 23 years of ignoring our asses.
Oh my gosh. If that's truly why he plugged it in there, that is some next level irony for sure.
I have it on good authority that's exactly why he said
Oh
it.
my God. That's fucking funny, dude.
Yeah,
so and I love like 17,000 people in the crowd like, "Yeah, a lot has happened since Dude Ranch. We love it all."
Yeah. Some guy on Instagram's like, "I love Dude Ranch.
I love Dude Ranch."
And the only people that get the fucking joke are me and Joey and Carrie.
Yeah.
And he runs right over to go, "Aha," in case we fucking missed it and we were sleeping on it. Right?
So epic.
So Mark was literally saying, "Are you back again?" Davey is back at a Blink show with Tom after 23 years. So instead of joking that Tom is back, he joked that I would back. And I got to say, it blows my mind, dude, that our private joke like entered this arena of 17,000 people.
That's fucking funny, dude.
And he did it because he knew exactly what it would fucking mean, and he came over and went, fucker.
That's hilarious. That's rad.
I'll never forget that ever as long as I live. I'll never forget it.
I mean, that is just so fucking cool, man. So, dude, it sounds like you just had an amazing night. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it was. I mean, did you experience the sort of not post-show blues, but like the come down from the high of the show?
It was crazy because, I mean, dude, it had been like 3.5 years, almost 4 years since I had seen Blink. And it comes so fast and then it's over and you're just like, man, that was fucking awesome. Now, thankfully, I had the next night to look forward to. But yes, after that, on my fucking 6-hour drive home, I was like, man, no other day is going to be as rad as this anytime soon.
Yeah. Can I say just a couple things about Tom and Travis? I haven't really talked about them.
Yeah, for sure. How did you feel about that? Because, I mean, you hadn't seen Tom in some time and hadn't seen Travis a ton.
23 years without Tom, and I only saw, in terms of seeing like Mark, Tom, and Travis, that was only a few times, right? Like,
yeah,
I had that last show with Scott, I saw them 2 dates on Poo Poo Pee Pee. I think I saw them 2 Soma dates, so that's 4 times with Travis. And then into 99, 2, 3, maybe 7, 8. So I maybe have seen them 9 times with Travis versus 50 times with Scott. So
yeah.
Tom only visited our corner at Far Stage, right? Like maybe twice, maybe a third time super quick. Because he does not move around as much as Mark. Mark likes to skip all around and do this whole thing. And again, I think it's because of us. He spent a lot of time over on Far Stage Right at this show. So Tom only came over a couple times. But both times he came over for a sec, I gave him the fucking finger with both hands, and I just shouted shit at him like I used to do. I was like, "Fuck you, Tom! You fucking quit. Now you're back." I don't know what I said, but I just shouted stupid shit at him. And with their ear monitors in, they can sometimes catch what you're mouthing, sometimes not. So I don't know if he saw me, but he did his like Tom sly grin, like, "Yeah, you fuckers, let's go. I'm back." The smile I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
he does. And he was really only in front of us for just a moment, right? But that was fun. I was just like, "Fuck you, Tom, you're back."
Did you dig his guitars though?
Well, we haven't really talked. I know you've talked. We haven't talked about Sticker Caster and how much that means to me. That the repro sticker is on there.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about that story?
We might as well hit on that while we're on Tom. So, okay. I've told this. I think I've even done a couple videos on it. But Tom has new guitars, Starcaster. There's one that is covered up with stickers. We've dubbed it the Sticker Caster.
Sticker Caster.
It's really rad. And what's the most rad is that there's an old school anime Blink sticker on it. And fun fact, that is Davey's redesign that I had my sticker guy print off and send me, that I sent to Mark, that Mark gave to Tom, and now it's on his guitar. So yeah, that was rad. I didn't even think about that. We should totally hit on that. You saw that right in front of you. That's your fucking art right there. How sick was that?
And one of the times when he came running over and I flipped him off, he had Sticker Caster. So I got to have a little Sticker Caster moment there.
Rad.
Even though Tom didn't hang out, he just comes over, says "fuck you" and runs away. But yeah, that was, I have a scan from a fellow friend, a collector. I have a scan of one of those original Rama stickers. So I was able to scan it, touch it up in Photoshop, get the color right and everything, make it all perfect. I provided that art to you. You had printed them out and had some sheets of them. You've got the tat on your arm. I provided that art to you as well in high quality. So you were able to get that tat. Super cool. So yeah, I gave you those stickers. You had printed some of those out. They got to Mark. Mark brought them to rehearsal, gave one to Tom. Tom slapped it on the Sticker Caster. So we're part of that moment. I kind of think of Sticker Caster as kind of being our guitar a little bit selfishly, Poppin', because of that connection. So it was really cool to see him play that.
For sure.
As far as Travis, like, what can I even say about the guy, right? Because of my particular history, I don't really have a connection to him, like emotionally or anything. I just see talent and skill. When I see that fucker play, I see talent and skill, right? He's a machine. He's a warrior. The dude never makes a mistake. I've never seen him make a mistake on stage. I'll say this though, Poppin', I don't know what you felt about the show effects, but this guy almost died in a fiery plane crash. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And the 2 things they do to this guy is they lower and raise him up in the fucking air, like 3 stories tall, and they shoot off flames right next to him on the corner of his risers. So this guy's fearless. Like, if that's what he's going to do for this entire world tour, is raise me up and down in the air, like 3 stories, 4 stories, and shoot off fire right next to me, like, okay, all my respect to Travis. Like,
yeah. And he's talked about that. Like, it took him a little bit of time to get comfortable with pyro again. Yeah. But now he is, and obviously now he's flying and everything. So yeah, Travis is a fucking warrior, man. He's a beast.
Yeah. Parting thoughts. Because, we should wrap up. So I don't follow anything about the band's interpersonal relationships to one another. I don't know what those dynamics are like. I can only say what I saw on stage. And what I saw on stage is like Mark and Tom are just like brothers. They just act like they grew up together. They can finish each other's sentences. They give each other shit. They're just like brothers, okay? Tom and Travis are like buddies, but like co-workers, right? They're like at a job. Like your work friend. Do you have work friends?
Oh yeah.
They feel like they're work friends. They're buddies, but they're there to work. They're coworkers. And Travis and Mark just feel like close friends. There are like moments where Mark will like fuck with Travis and like put the towel over his head. He has to play blindfolded, or he'll come up and put his leg up on the riser and say stuff. And Mark will even give Tom shit when Tom goes to hang out with Travis. He's like, get down from there. He's like, get down from that riser. Like, that's my boy. That's my zone. So those are the dynamics that I picked up on, which is really cool. They all love each other, but it's like at different levels and different ways, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, I mean, did you feel that they were back and for the right reasons and everything was authentic and authentic and everything? Because I did. I thought that they just looked like they were having so much fucking fun. Even Tom just out there having a fucking blast.
um, yeah, there wasn't any part of the experience for me, and I'm coming in with a lot of emotional bias and background. There's nothing for me where it felt prescribed or fake or like the Rolling Stones are here just for the money. Like I didn't have any of those vibes at all.
Yeah.
All I got was just like Mark is super happy to fucking be alive. Tom is super happy to be back in the band. He's practiced. He cares about the songs. He's on point. Travis is like, I'm here to do what I do because I'm the best at what I fucking do. Let's go, fuckers.
Yeah.
So just nothing but the most like positive energy. And I will say this, I don't want to get too emotional or weepy popping, but I kind of had this like moment on my drive back home. You know, I had 6.5 hours to like think about the experience, and the big emotion for me, and I don't want to sound like an Instagram mom or something, but like you see those hashtag posts, but gratitude. I just felt gratitude.
Yeah.
The members of this band, you know, they've endured like so much personal shit and tragedy, right? Like way more than I've ever seen in my own life, right? And they're here. Fucking plane crashes, cancers. Like I feel like nothing can stop Blink.
Yeah.
I mean, not even Tom, right? The asshole quit twice, but he's back. So
Yeah.
like not even Tom can like wreck this fucking thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was my feelings. What'd you think after your shows?
I was just so stoked that they're back and people get to get out and experience what you and I know to be a Blink show, you know, because it truly is. It's just a special moment in time where everybody syncs up and they love this band so much. And these songs mean so much to them. And as I've gotten older and as we've seen this through different eras, it's not guaranteed. It is not guaranteed that you're going to see Blink next year or 3 years from now. You know, we've had huge gaps in band members in and out. So when the world aligns and these nights happen, I just get so fucking happy for the kids going out to their first Blink show or anybody just getting stoked to go see this band, because I know how much it means to me and 15, 20,000 other people just that stoked for one day, even if it's just one day. Because that's what's so special about these is, no matter what kind of day I'm having or wherever, whoever, doesn't matter what happened. When you're going to a show and when you're in that arena, nothing else matters. Nothing. You don't see people there stressed about their job or money or anything. You are locked in. And for that 3 hours of that show or however, nothing else matters. And it's just the most fun you're ever going to have. And so, there's a bit of sadness when I leave them. But you always have another one to look forward to, hopefully.
Maybe. I mean, maybe I stay retired. I come out, I'm one and done.
Yeah, I wanna close on that, but before we get there, I want to know, like, what was your favorite moment? I feel like it has to be that cynical, but what was your favorite moment of the night?
Well, I mean, there's what's personal for me and what's the show. I think my favorite part of the concert was just Sky with her dad. Like that was just like melted my heart. Yeah, that was like so heartwarming. So when I think about like the concert, like capital C, I think about that moment. The most emotional thing was just that Adam song moment about like, my friends are here who helped me through this. I mean, this is a guy who I watched countless movies with on Twitch, and we're making dumb jokes back and forth. And he's like basically dying of cancer, having chemotherapy. Yeah. Like, I don't know about you, but like I've had so many emotional moments with this dude in this band over the past couple years. And all of that was like condensed down into this one little, like, looking at me going like, you were one of those guys that was there, dude, when I was fucking dying. Yeah. So that was really heavy shit. Yeah. But I mean, who can beat the cynical moment? I mean, that's going to be on YouTube forever. That's on YouTube. The internet doesn't forget. No, nope. That's going to be on YouTube forever. Yep. Him shouting that, and then on the video you can see him run right across the stage and go, "Ha!" But that lives in Blink history now. So. A
lot has happened since Dude Ranch, Davey, for sure. So last question. I'm curious. what are your top 3 songs of the night? Like when you were just the most hype or most emotional or just stoked to hear live?
Well, we talked about this when I was on the pod before, how I loved Man Overboard as a single. I still love it more than any of the tracks on either Enema or Jacket. If I'm going to like shuffle a track from that era, I'm putting on Man Overboard. And that's because I think we talked about this, how I got the lyrics, I understood, the band's been vague about it, but it's pretty clear if you're a fan of the band and know their history that there are references to Scott leaving the band in that song.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I connected with the song for that very reason. I didn't think it was a diss or a put down. It was an honest, emotional acknowledgement of what happened in a way that was really cool, in a song where you could connect with anybody. Hey, my girlfriend left me, so sorry it's over. You can put your own life into it. But if you knew what was going on, the subtext. That's the term, right? You know the subtext. I know the subtext. So for me, I love that heckin' song. I love playing it on bass. So for me, getting to hear that live, and Mark definitely came over and mugged a bunch of times for us during that number when he wasn't singing. Great. So number 1 track would be Man Overboard. I will say I have a newfound appreciation for Always. Leading up to maybe I'll go to the show or not, I made a playlist on my iTunes because I play bass and guitar along to these songs sometimes. I was like, let me just do the set list that they're doing, and I'll just play through those songs to kind of get pumped. I don't know if you do this to kind of get pumped for the show.
I'll listen to it. I don't play them all.
Yeah, I'm
You're better than me.
I'm the nerd that knows how to play all the songs and stuff, but I never really play the Untitled stuff that much because I don't listen to it that much. But I was like, I'll learn Down, I'll learn Always, I'll learn Feeling This. So I just, busted out and played for the first time Violence. I had never played any of these on bass ever. And I played all those. And because I had been playing them, I was stoked to see them. So I think if I'm going to go top 3, it'd be Man Overboard, Violence, and Always. Or no. I'll sub in. I got to say Feeling This, probably. Feeling This. Did you notice with Feeling This? So I don't know if you know much about the stage production, but there's a floor of subwoofers underneath the stage, right? There's a floor of subwoofers that they can like activate with a switch.
Interesting.
So on the track on the album, there's an extra low E bass note that if you're in a car with a subwoofer, it just blows out your shit. That's a production trick, right? It is the low E that he's playing, but they're like tripling it, right? Did you notice they do that live?
Well, I feel it. I don't know if I knew it was because there's a subwoofer underneath the stage, but yeah, that's always a highlight live when that kicks in.
Yeah, there's a floor of subwoofers that are pulling Mark's low E and like tripling it, and it goes out across the concrete of the floor of the arena. And I was on the barricade rail. Did you feel it in your chest?
Oh yeah,
I felt it on my chest. Yeah, you were literally feeling this. Aha.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so maybe I'd say Man Overboard, Violence, and Feeling This were probably because I'd never seen any of those live, right?
Yeah, I'm shocked by Violence and Always for you. That's rad.
Mm-hmm. And it was just because I decided to play them on bass before I came out. So
yeah,
those would be the top 3 tracks.
Okay, yeah, you mentioned that you kind of came out of retirement to see this. Do you truly think it's going to be your last show or no?
I don't know. I do have one regret. Can we talk about my one regret?
Let's do it.
My one regret is that I didn't do, what is it called? The VIP lounge or whatever it's called?
Yeah. I didn't get to see that either.
Yep. That's my one big regret because again, this was last minute. We just got general admission pit and just showed up. I really regret that because of the role that we played in the sticker strat recreation, right?
We haven't even talked about that either.
We haven't even talked about that. We need to do like a whole separate episode about that. Maybe when the tour wraps, after the tour, we do a whole with pictures and we do a whole thing after the tour, right?
I got to see that fucking guitar too.
I know.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, we need to hit on that. I've talked about it. I mean, I did a video, Sticker Strat's back. It's in the VIP museum, but I haven't actually like seen it or held it yet. And I need to. I got some connections that helped make that happen. Maybe we can figure that out. Yeah, you say that you might be done. You can't be done, Davey, because here's the thing. I want to go to a Blink show with you, buddy.
Oh man,
we got to make it happen.
You and I on the barricade would just be like the greatest thing ever because I mean, you and I have a friendship now with Blinkdom going back. I don't know. What was the first time we talked? 2015, maybe 2016.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
We've been chatting a long time. We're buds now. And I consider you one of my Blink bros. So if you and I were ever on the barricade together, that would just wow.
What's your summer schedule like? Is it crazy?
Oh man, I don't even know.
Do you have any
Um,
downtime? Particularly like when they play in Nashville on the last tour of,
is
or
that is that the last night of the
on the
tour?
very last night of the tour? I think it's like next month. It's like June. No, it's July 16th. Let me look. July 16th. It's a Sunday in
July 6th.
Nashville.
It's a Sunday in Nashville, July 16th.
I'm planning on being there. I think if you can swing it, it might be rad.
I don't even know where Nashville is. Where's Nashville?
It's in the Midwest where it's hot and weird.
Is that, well, Tennessee is like a long piece of bacon, right? So that's like on the far west piece
Pretty
of the bacon,
much. Yeah.
bacon strip, right?
Check out flights. No promises, but check out flights. See if it's even feasible, and we'll kind of go through the logistics. But man, that would be fucking rad.
I don't know. What do they say? Post in the comments if you want Davey and Poppin to
drop
to
it
go
below.
To go to a show together.
Who's buying us a nice IPA after the show?
Right? Who's getting us that post-show beer?
But yeah, real talk, dude. You should look into it because that'd be fucking rad, and it would be an honor. I'd be stoked, and I think it would just be everything coming full circle, dude. So look into it. No promises, but if so, you may catch Davey and I in the pit in Nashville.
You're kind of you're my longest time Blink brother. I might, if I get a little emotional, will you make fun of me, or will it be okay?
Okay, just 2 IPAs. If we get 4 up, Davey may cry on me in the hotel.
No whiskey. We're not doing liquor, bro.
No whiskey. All right. Well, dude. I mean, I'm kind of stoked about even just the slightest possibility of that. Yeah. We'll see. All right. Well, for the sake of this one, appreciate you coming on the pod once again, dude. Love hearing about your experiences. Anything you want to wrap up with, or anything else you got to say before we end the pod?
Yeah, I mean, I got to talk about what happened after the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what happens afterwards?
Well, so we're just like blown away about the show, and we get back to our hotel room. We're just like a 5-minute walk away. And just chatted with Mark a little bit after the show. And it was super awesome. I can't remember what he said. He said something like, seeing you was like such a huge surprise, and it meant a lot that you were there, or something like that. Like it was really cool. He was basically like, dude, that was rad of you to come. And then he goes, wait, I got something. I'm like, what? And he goes, hang on. And it turns out, this is just amazing. It turns out right before they went on, and like kind of the lights are about to go down or whatever, that they're set up, but they haven't started the lights down moment. He's hanging with Sky, and he sees me. And he knows what I look like, and he sees the old Blink shirt. And he tells me that he's like, Sky, dude, give me your phone, because he doesn't have his phone on him. He's like, Diaz is ready to give him a bass. He's ready to go out. He's like, Sky, give me your phone. I know that guy. And he did a zoom in on Sky's phone and snapped a picture of me. And then he shows me the picture, and is like, aha, there we go. And so that's why he knew exactly where to run to when Anthem Part 2 started to like say hi. Is because he saw me and took a picture of me on Sky's phone before the show started.
And this is before they even walked out on stage. Dude, the Buddha shirt was the right call.
Dude, and I got all props to my friend Joey for convincing me to take it out of the case and wear it, because that's how Mark was able to see me in 5 seconds and go, give me the phone, Sky, quick. I got to take a picture of this guy.
And Mark, he's the biggest Blink fan, no doubt about it.
He totally is.
He saw that shirt and knew.
Yep. He's the biggest Blink fan, the biggest Blink historian, and he's the biggest fan of Blink fans, I would say, of the 3 guys.
Oh, for sure.
And so he knows what it meant, because he knows I had that shirt up in a frame. Actually, I think when we were chatting once, I was joking and I was like, should I wear one of these old shirts if I ever go to a show? And Mark was like, do it. So I talked with Joey about that, and like Mark said, do it. So I should probably for him. And he knew that because he said do it, and I was wearing it. So anyways, that's how he knew to come over and hang out so quick, is that he caught me on Sky's phone.
That's incredible, dude. That really is. Just so many rad moments. Yep. Last question. Last question, because I got to know this. Is the t-shirt safe? Is it back on the wall yet? Did you sustain any damage?
So I did some laundry and chores this morning in my house, and I ran it through the wash because it was sweaty as fuck. And I pulled it out, and definitely the graphic on the back, the wheelchair graphic, had cracked more. It hadn't gone in the washer since the 90s, bro. Like Clinton was president. Clinton was president the last time this thing was in a washing machine. So like I always wash on cold for colors and everything, but definitely like part of that graphic had pulled apart and cracked even more. And I was kind of like, I had a little like moment, and then it's dry. It's back in the frame. It's up on the wall.
Oh my gosh. It was worth it though. It was worth the extra couple cracks. Rad, dude. Well, Davey, as always enjoy chatting with you. Appreciate your time coming on the pod. Officially, I mean, you've been on the pod more than anybody for sure. So always an open invite. And yeah, maybe we'll make this Nashville thing happen. Stay tuned to the socials. Maybe we'll have some fun pictures then. In the meantime, though, actually some news. Davey is on Instagram now, which was not the case the last time we spoke for the pod.
The real Davey Jones.
The real Davey Jones. So some of those photo drops are now available there. But yeah, to wrap this up, buddy, any famous last words?
I just really want to thank my friends Joey and Carrie for inviting me. They were the ones that invited me to come. We just went in, no tickets. Let's see what we can buy day of. And so special thanks to them. Special thanks to them for sharing a hotel room with me. That was so sweet of them. And, special thanks to Joey for convincing me to wear the shirt and to come to the show.
Joey, MVP for sure.
MVP Joey.
Sweet.
Yeah. So thanks so much for having me on, Poppin.
No problem, dude. All right. Enjoyed it. Anytime.